The banner had been printed in Calibri. This is not a criticism. It is simply the detail Marcus noticed first when he walked through the conference room door at 11:03 on a Thursday morning, having been told his exit interview had been moved due to a scheduling conflict. The banner was blue and white, roughly centered, slightly lower on the left side than the right. "We'll miss you, Marcus." The exclamation mark was doing considerable work. He stood in the doorway for a moment, just a moment, the length of a breath, and understood what the room was. Then he walked into it. 41 people worked in the department. 26 were in the room. Someone had pushed the tables to the edges. There were balloons tied to the back of a chair that no one had thought to move to a more deliberate location. A gift basket sat on the central table, wrapped in cellophane, a blue ribbon on top that had been curled with scissors and had mostly uncurled since. Diane, the office coordinator, was standing near the window. She had known since 6:15 that morning, when she opened the HR announcement, that had been CC'd to her by mistake, a clerical error, her name one line below the intended recipient in the distribution list. She had read it twice, looked at the gift basket she had signed for the previous afternoon, and made the decision that would define her morning. She said nothing, to no one, and refreshed her email 4 times in the following hour, as though expecting the situation to resolve itself electronically. It did not. Dennis spoke first because Dennis always spoke first. He was Marcus's manager, had been for 3 years, and he was a man who confused visibility with leadership and thoroughness with recognition, which is a common confusion and not an unforgivable one. He said Marcus was one of those people who made a team better without anyone quite being able to say how. He said this warmly and meant it genuinely, and did not appear to notice that it was also an admission that no one had tried to say how in 3 years when it might have mattered. Janet spoke next. She said Marcus was the most patient person she had ever worked with in 22 years of professional life. She said it like a compliment, which it was. She did not say that his patience had made him the default recipient of every task that required patience, which would have been accurate, and which would have made the compliment more complicated than the occasion called for. 2 others spoke briefly. Marcus listened to all of it with an expression that was attentive and warm and entirely genuine, which is worth noting because it would have been easier and perhaps more satisfying to observe if it hadn't been. He ate a piece of cake, chocolate, from the bakery 2 blocks over. It was good cake. He made a mental note to remember the bakery. Tom was 23 and sat in the 3rd row of the open-plan floor and checked his phone with the frequency of someone who had not yet learned to make the gesture invisible. He opened the 6 a.m. email at 11:17 while Janet was presenting the gift basket. He read it once. He read it again. His face did the thing faces do when information arrives that requires immediate reclassification of everything currently in the room. He looked at Marcus. He looked at Dennis. He looked at the banner. He angled his phone toward Janet. The stillness that followed was not dramatic. It moved through the room the way a change in air pressure moved through a room, not visible but felt, the kind of thing that makes people look up from what they're doing without knowing why. It reached Dennis by way of a colleague who leaned close and said something that took 4 words or fewer, based on the speed of Dennis's expression as it traveled through surprise, recalculation, and the professional smile he assembled at the end of the journey, with the efficiency of a man who had assembled professional smiles many times before. Dennis raised his plastic cup. He said they all should have known Marcus was going places. He said it with conviction, which was impressive given that the sentence was the direct inverse of the speech he had given 8 minutes earlier. The room laughed, not unkindly, with the particular relief of people who have been handed a tone to follow and are grateful for the direction. Marcus raised his cup. He said thank you. He said he meant it, and his face confirmed that he did, which produced a brief and specific discomfort in several people who had been hoping for more irony to hide behind. He sent a thank you email at 2:15 that afternoon. It was warm and particular. He mentioned the banner, the cake, the speeches, something specific from each one that proved he had been listening. He did not reference the announcement, he did not acknowledge the reordering of things. The email was, by any measure, a generous piece of writing from someone who owed the room considerably less generosity than he offered it. He began the new role on Monday. Dennis appeared in his doorway at 9 a.m. with a folder and the expression of a man who had spent the weekend making adjustments. Marcus asked him to sit down. He offered him the good chair. He said he was glad they'd be working together, and his face, again, confirmed it. Whether that was grace or something longer and quieter than grace, Marcus hadn't decided. He's not sure he needs to. The banner someone had taken down before he left on Thursday. The balloons were gone by Friday morning. The gift basket sat on his kitchen counter at home, the ribbon still mostly uncurled. The wine he was saving for something. He wasn't sure what yet. But he was in less of a hurry than he used to be about most things, and the waiting didn't bother him the way it once had.